Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. I'm Christy, and today we're going somewhere different, somewhere most people are afraid to go. We're going to talk about power, real power, not the kind you see in movies, not the kind that comes with a crown or a corner office, although it can. I'm talking about the kind of power that lives inside your decisions. The kind that shapes your relationships, your career, your entire life, whether you realize it or not. And our guide today, a man who's been unalived for nearly 500 years, but whose ideas are so sharp, so brutally honest, that people are still afraid of them. Niccolò Machiavelli. Yeah, that Machiavelli, the guy whose name literally became an adjective for being cunning and ruthless. But here's the thing, and I need you to hear me on this. Most people who use the word Machiavellian have never actually read a single page of what the man wrote. They just hear the reputation and ran with it. And that, ironically, is exactly the kind of lazy thinking Machiavelli would have torn apart. So today, we're not doing a history lesson. I'm not going to bore you with dates and Italian politics from the 1500s. What we are going to do is crack open his philosophy and ask one very dangerous, very exciting question. How do you use this to win in everyday life? Not win as in crush people, not win as in manipulate your way to the top while everyone else burns. But win as in how do you become the kind of person that success actually follows? How do you stop chasing outcomes and start becoming someone that outcome chase? Let's get into it. The first thing Machiavelli would tell you, and I mean the first thing, if he sat down across from you at a coffee shop right now, it would be this. Nobody cares what you meant to do. They care what you actually did. Let that land for a second. Actions are far more voluminous than words. We live in a world that is absolutely obsessed with intentions. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. My heart was in the right place. I was trying my best. Please charge it to my mind and not my heart. Intentions matter on a personal level. They matter for your own peace of mind, but Machiavelli would look you dead in the eye and say the world does not grade you on your intentions. It grades you on your results. Think about your own life. Think about that project at work that you poured your soul into, but still failed. Did your boss say, well, at least you tried really hard? Maybe. But did they promote you? Probably not. Think about that relationship where you loved someone so deeply, but kept showing up late, kept forgetting the things that mattered to them, kept breaking small promises. Did your love save that relationship? Or did your actions, your actual, visible, measurable actions, did it destroy it? That's not cynicism. This is clarity, and Machiavelli was above everything else a man of clarity. So here's your first power move. Stop hiding behind your intentions and start owning your outcomes. Audit your life not by what you planned, but by what you produce. Because the gap between those two things, that gap is where your power is leaking every single day. When you start closing that gap, when your actions start matching your ambitions, something almost magical happens. People start trusting you, opportunities start finding you, and success stop being something that you chase and starts becoming something that follow you. Because you've become reliable, you've become real. And in a world full of people who are all talk, all talk, all talk, being real is the most powerful thing you could be. Now, this next one is going to sting a little bit, so brace yourselves. Machiavelli believed, and I think he was right, honestly, that most people operate out of self interest, not because they're evil, Not because they're bad people, but because that's just how humans are wired. We think about ourselves first. We protect ourselves first. And if you go through life pretending that's not true, if you walk around assuming everyone has pure motives and no one would ever put their needs above yours, you are going to be blindsided over and over and over again. Now, I'm not saying become paranoid. I'm not saying trust no one and live in a bunker. Machiavelli wasn't saying that either. What he was saying is this: be a student of human nature before you become a victim of it. Watch how people behave, not just what they say. Pay attention to patterns. When someone shows you who they are, and Maya Angelou said this too, by the way, believe them the first time, not the fifth, not the 10th. Numero uno, the first time. Here's how this plays out in real life. Let's say you're starting a business with a friend. You're excited. You trust each other and everything feels great, right? Yeah. Machiavelli would say that's wonderful. Now put it in writing. Get a contract. Divine. Define the roles. Plan for the scenario where things go wrong. Not because your friend is going to betray you, but because if you don't prepare for the worst, you're gambling your future on hope. And hope, my friend, is not a strategy. The same goes for your career. You love your job, great. But are you building skills that make you valuable outside of that one company? Are you networking? Are you keeping your options open? Because loyalty to a company that will replace you in 2 weeks if you drop dead tomorrow is not loyalty. That's naivety. Machiavelli's second lesson for your life: love people, but understand people. These two things are not in conflict. In fact, people who truly understand human nature are often the ones who love most wisely. They don't get bitter when someone lets them down because they anticipated it. You already know. They set boundaries not out of fear, but out of self respect. They give generously, but they don't give blindly. And when you move through the world like that, clear eyed, compassionate, but unshakable, unmovable, people sense it. They respect it. They gravitate towards it because there is something incredibly magnetic about someone who cannot be easily fooled. Okay, so here's where Machiavelli gets really interesting. He had this concept, he called it fortuna, fortune, luck, in a feminine tense. You feel me? The unpredictable chaos of life. He compared it to a raging river. When the river is calm, everyone's just vibing, going about their business, not thinking about floods. But when the storm comes, and the storm always comes, the people who built dams and dug channels and reinforced their walls, they survive. They might even thrive. And the people who assume the good weather will last forever, they get swept away. This is maybe the most practical thing Machiavelli ever taught. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how prepared you are when it happens. Let me say that again because I think it's genuinely life changing. You cannot control what happens, but you can control your preparation. That job you're comfortable in, what happens if the industry, my apologies, what happens if the industry shifts tomorrow? Do you have savings? Do you have a side hustle? Do you have another skill? Do you have a network that can catch you? That relationship you're in, are you growing as an individual, or have you made another person your entire identity? Because if that person leaves, who are you? Your health, your mental state, your finances. Machiavelli would tell you, build the dam now while the sun is shining, while things are good, because by the time you hear the thunder, it's already too late to start digging. The ground already wet, nah. But Here's the other half of this. And this is the part people miss. Machiavelli also said that fortune favors the bold. He literally said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that fortune is like a force that respects those who act decisively, not accordingly, honey, decisively. Those who hesitate, those who overthink, those who wait for the perfect moment. Fortune passes them by. So the formula is this: prepare like a strategist, act like a warrior. Don't just sit there with your plans and your spreadsheets and your vision boards and never actually do anything. At some point, you have to move. There's a leak in this old building, and my soul has got to move. You have to take a leap. You have to send the email, make the call, launch the thing, have the conversation, take the risk. Preparation without action is just anxiety with extra steps, and action without preparation is just pure chaos. And when you combine them, when you've done the work and you have the courage to move, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when life starts bending in your direction. Not because the universe is rewarding you, but because you prepared. You've positioned yourself so well that opportunity has nowhere else to go. All right. Now we have to talk about the famous one, the big one. The quote that everyone knows, but almost nobody understands. Machiavelli said, and I'm going to give you the full context here. He said, it's ideal to be both loved and feared, but if you have to choose one, it is safer to be feared than love. And people lost their minds over this for centuries. He's a monster. He's telling leaders to be tyrants. He's endorsing cruelty. No, he's not. And if you actually read what he wrote, you see that he explicitly said cruelty for its own sake is worthless. What he was actually talking about is something much more nuanced, much more useful, and much more applicable to your daily life. He was talking about respect. Think about the people in your life who you truly respect, not the ones you fear because they're unpredictable or abusive. That's not what we're discussing. I mean, the people who, when they speak, you listen. The people who, when they set a boundary, you don't test it. The people who are warm and generous, but who you would never, ever take advantage of. What makes them like that? I'll tell you. It's because at some point through their actions, they showed you that they value themselves. They showed you that they have standards. They showed you that their kindness is a choice, not a weakness. And that distinction, kindness as a choice versus kindness as a default because you're afraid of conflict, that is the difference between being loved and being taken for granted. Machiavelli's point translated for modern life. Listen, it's this: do not sacrifice respect for approval. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Stop laughing at jokes that aren't funny just to fit in. Stop tolerating disrespect because you're afraid of being alone. Stop undercharging for your work because you want people to like you. Stop dimming your standards because someone else can't or couldn't or can't meet them. When you hold your ground, not aggressively, not arrogantly, but firmly, something shifts. People might not always like your boundaries. They might push back. They might even walk away. But the ones who stay, the ones who respect those boundaries, those are your people. Those are the relationships worth having. Those are the colleagues worth working with. Those are the friends who will actually show up when it matters. And here's the beautiful irony: when you stop chasing approval, you often end up more loved than ever before, because people can feel authenticity, they can feel backbone. And in a world where most people are bending themselves in the pretzels trying to be liked by everyone, someone who stands tall and says, "This is who I am, take it or leave it," is absolutely magnetic. Be kind, be generous, be warm, but never, ever be a pushover or a doormat. That's what Machiavelli was truly saying. Here's something Machiavelli observed that I think is maybe the most relevant thing for us right now in this era, in this economy, in this chaotic, fast moving, constantly shifting world we live in. He noticed that the leaders who failed, the ones who lost everything, almost always fail for the same reason. It wasn't because they were stupid. It wasn't because they lacked resources. It was because they refused to adapt. They found one strategy that worked and they clung to it. They had one way of doing things, one way of seeing the world, and when the world changed around them, they just kept doing the same thing. And the world ate them alive. Sounds familiar? It should. Because this is the story of countless businesses, countless careers, countless people who peaked and then plateaued and then faded. Not because they lost their talent, but because they lost their flexibility. Machiavelli's lesson here is profound. The person you were yesterday might not be equipped for the challenges of tomorrow. And that's okay as long as you're willing to evolve. This means being honest with yourself about who's working or what's working and who and what is not. This means killing your ego when your ego is the thing standing between you and growth. This means being willing to be a beginner again, even when you've been an expert. This means listening to feedback, really listening, not just nodding while you mentally defend yourself. I see this all the time. Someone builds a successful business using one model and then market it that same way, and then the market shifts. And instead of pivoting, they dig in. This is how we've always done it. And 5 years later, they're gone. Someone builds a great relationship using charm and excitement. But when the relationship matures and requires death and vulnerability, they keep trying to charm their way through and it falls apart. The river of fortune is always moving, always changing course. And if you plant yourself on the bank and refuse to move, eventually the river will either leave you dry or wash you away. Stay fluid, please. Stay curious, stay hungry. Read books that challenge your world's view. Talk to people who think differently than you. Question your own assumptions regularly. Be ruthless, not with other people, but with your own outdated beliefs. The most powerful version of you is not a fixed thing, it's a living, breathing, evolving force. And every time you adapt, every time you shed an old skin and step into a new one, you become harder to defeat. Because how do you beat someone who's always becoming? You can't. One more thing before we wrap up, and I think this might be the most important piece of all. We live in an instant world, instant results, instant gratification, instant success, or at least the illusion of it on social media. And because of that, we've lost something that Machiavelli understood deeply: the devastating power of patience. Machiavelli studied leaders who built empires, not overnight, not in a viral moment, over years, over decades. through setbacks and failures and betrayals and losses that would have broken most people. But they kept going, not blindly, strategically. They knew that some victories take time. They knew that some battles are won not by fighting harder, but by waiting longer. And I think that's a message we desperately need to hear right now. Your dream is not dead just because it hasn't happened yet. Your effort is not wasted just because you can't see the results yet. The seeds you're planting today, the skills you're building, the connections you're making, the habits you're forming, the seeds are going to grow, but they grow on their own timeline, not yours. Machiavelli would tell you play the long game, let other people sprint and burn out, let other people cut corners and crumble. You, you're building something real, and real things take time. But, and this is crucial, patience does not mean passivity. Patience means continually working on you. Patience means continuing to work while you wait. It means showing up every single day, doing the unglamorous work that nobody sees, trusting the process even when the process feels like it's going nowhere. It means having the discipline to delay gratification because you know that's what's coming is bigger than what's here. That's how empires are built. That's how legacies are made. Not in a moment, in a million moments, stacked up on top of each other, day after day, moment after moment, second after second. So let me bring it all together. Machiavelli wasn't a villain. He wasn't a monster. He was a man who looked at the world without flinching and told the truth about what he saw. And the truth he saw was this: the world is not fair. People are complicated. Fortune is unpredictable. And the only thing you can truly control is yourself, your preparation, your actions, your adaptability, your standards, and your patience. That's not dark. That's liberating. Because once you stop expecting the world to hand you things, you start building the power to create them yourself. So here's what I want you to take from today. One, close the gap between your intentions and your actions. Be someone who delivers, not just someone who dreams. Two, understand human nature. Love people, but don't be naive to them. Protect your peace, your time, and your energy. Three, prepare for the storm while the sun is shining. And when the moment comes, act boldly. Preparation plus courage equals unstoppable. Four, earn respect before you chase approval. Be kind, never be weak. Your standards are not negotiable. Five, adapt constantly. The moment you stop evolving is the moment you start declining. Stay fluid, stay hungry, stay dangerous. Six, play the long game. Be patient, but never passive. Trust the process. Do the work. The results will come. Do these things not perfectly, not all at once, but consistently. And I promise you, success will stop being something you chase and it will become something that follows you because you won't just be hoping for a better life. You'll be the kind of person who creates one. Machiavelli knew it 500 years ago. And now you know it too. I'm Chrissy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you in the next one. Now go build your empire.